Welcome back to Consider It Life. Today I want to coin a new phrase. Well, it's new as far as I know. And that is a Christian conspiracy theory of everything. Now, a conspiracy theory is when you have multiple bad actors doing things nefariously behind the scene, and what we find out is that there are connections between those bad actors that are unlooked for. Now, having a bad actor, like a corporation using PR and marketing and advertising to cover up their bad actions, that's not a conspiracy theory. A conspiracy theory is something like this, and I don't know if this is true, so I'll just say that at the outset. But we began to unearth these pieces to the puzzle. For example, that Anthony Fauci, who was the head of whatever he was, CDC or NIH, I don't know. I don't know the details. So don't take this as we'll just label this as a hypothetical. Wink. The virus that had been built, escaped accidentally from a lab in China, that this gain of function research was being funded by grants that were overseen by Fauci, that Fauci was, in fact, then put in charge of the nation's response to the pandemic. That response including the rapid development of new vaccine technologies by Big Pharma, whose boards included people that were also senior level people at places like CDC and NIH, who had financial investments and windfalls from these things, also connected with governmental agencies and big technology companies that then, because of the shutdowns and the pandemic, were increased enormously in their profitability, right? All of these different actors that nefariously behind the scenes potentially, and then not having access to the full range of verifying evidence for those elements, right? That's a conspiracy theory. In physics, a theory of everything is, in physico-mathematical theories, is looking at the most fundamental equations and forces, the simplest fundamental material physical reality that explains the ultimate diversity. So these simple forces that produce oceans and land masses and plants and animals and bacteria and viruses and all this stuff. The stars and the galaxies and the universe all work according to these very, very simple principles that are consistently mathematically worked out. That would be a theory of everything, right? This is something that people like Eric Weinstein are thinking about. Putting those two ideas together, a conspiracy theory of everything would be an overarching theory of how all of these different conspiracies come together in one, as we might say, worldview. Now, it's my assertion here that that's what Christianity is. Rightly understood, Christianity is a conspiracy theory of everything, because then you ask the question, how is it that if the world at the level of geopolitics is being manipulated by these Luciferian pedophilic elite that also have ties in with foreign entities like China, who are responsible in part for the fentanyl crisis with the Mexican cartels that's being brought into all of these different things, the big tech companies that for some reason are bent toward this constant surveillance of the individual citizen for the purposes of manipulation and control and access to information flow. What is common about all of these different threads? Well, I did a video on spiritual warfare as a clash of cultures. And we looked at the book John Keegan's History of Warfare. And what he says in there is that ultimately, that warfare isn't one thing. Warfare is not an extension of politics by another means, but it's actually an extension of culture. So samurai culture and Native American culture and Pacific Island culture, they're going to wage war as an extension of their culture. And what I asserted in that video is that the culture of hell, this satanic, demonic culture, is a culture of deception and manipulation and fear and hatred and control. And those are the values that we see emerging in these other bad actors that explain how all of them come together to try and terrorize and manipulate and control the individual citizen. Because there is a spiritual reality, a dark spiritual reality behind all of these bad actors, bringing them together. So that's why I say that Christianity, rightly understood, understanding that there is this dark demonic agenda, and people have talked about this in different venues. I'm just sort of solidifying this in one idea. So a conspiracy theory of everything, that is at least one interesting way to see the Christian narrative. And because the reason I say this is because you have non-theists. I won't say atheists, but Joe Rogan is something of a non-theist. I think he's still a little bit skeptical about the historical and theological claims of Christianity, which is fine. He's on his journey. I think he's on the right road, because Jesus says, "All those who listen to truth come to me." Right. So Joe, if anything, seems bent toward listening to the truth, trying to understand what's really true. So I think once you stay on that pathway long enough, you'll find Jesus there at the end waiting for you. Okay. Anyway. So somebody like a Joe Rogan is interested in aliens and this kind of conspiracy theory and that, right? What somebody like that lacks is an explanatory scope of why all of these bad actors are colluding together, right? And the explanation of that is Christianity's true. That there is this dark, spiritually dark demonic agenda that's behind all of that explains all of it. So that's my Christianity as a conspiracy theory of everything. We'll see you next time.